intro to this game.
I was about to say, do you want to
confused. This, of course, is game 2 of a best of 3 at AntecAttack number 25. It is between FXOBabyK's Baby Knight and TSLHyuN, who is the blue Zerg in the lower left. I'm SC2 England, and my lovely co-caster is Pewee.
Hello.
So, anyone who didn't catch game 1, spoiler alert incoming. Basically, Baby Knight looked like he was going to win it really quite convincingly, with an immortal... No, yeah, an immortal and stalker army against mass roach zergling. But HyuN, he sniped out those immortals at the final hour and went on to win, so it was pretty good.
Yeah, and as we can see here, they are discussing it.
Yeah, Baby Knight clearly not happy with his performance.
In my opinion, it was like the Immortals were a bit close to the front and they were in a vulnerable spot. And he just like... They just run up and snipe the Immortals, and like you just can't let that happen. And as Fitzy said, a couple of sentries would be nice, because obviously like the roaches had to run through a choke to get to the Immortals, because there's that like, you know, they would buy the tower and there's that extra like cliff around thingy that causes you to run around. And like he could force field very nicely, but I chopped the roaches in half and just annihilated them, no problem. But yeah, no sentries, no force fields.
Really, that comes down. But Baby Knight being very happy about his DTs, which who can blame him, because DTs can win you a game.
Yeah.
Except, unless of course you're in which case you built your Evo chamber at the same time as your Roach Warren. But my pet hate. But anyway, so Pewee, we're going to see a Nexus first out of Baby Knight here, which I think is the right choice. It's a huge rush distance. HyuN going for exactly the same build as he did in game 1. Same timings, yep. Getting the third before the natural. Everything is exactly the same.
Yeah, and like we said, well, like I said last game, like if you take your third first, because you get that creep distance, it's so much harder to pressure the third. Like last game, we've seen that the creep was pretty much by where the proxy pylon was trying to be placed, and it's like you can have a really hard time fighting on creep. Yeah.
You can. Although I reckon this game we're probably going to see Baby Knight go for a big gateway push off of 2 base. That's my prediction, because the third base from a Zerg's perspective, while easy to take, can be a bit awkward to hold, because it's a really wide open space to get in, but actually the gap between the hatchery and where the reinforcements come, that's really quite narrow, so force fields play in massively. And then also you've got an entrance to your natural, which is a long distance away, so defending both can be really awkward.
Yeah, definitely. And like there's also a lot of space to get you know, the hidden probe with the proxy pylon. And sometimes, like, have you noticed, I don't know if you watch well, actually, yeah, you would probably notice. You see, like, a lot of Ziggs put spines just at the third, and sometimes she's like, oh, well, screw this, I'm just go to the natural, and you just go to the natural, there's no spines, you do damage.
Exactly, so, I think, it's just buying you time. Wherever you put those spines, you need to have your army at the other base, or closer there, but generally the best place to stick your army to defend this as a Zerg player is right between the two. Literally on that ramp. But then you do run the risk of some good force fields literally just tying off between the hatchery and that little bit of dead space. Which
that is true, and like you were saying, like between the actual hatchery and like the cliff of the third, like it's quite a small spot, so you could get some nice force fields there.
I think 2 force fields would nearly completely block that off. 3 definitely would.
3 definitely, absolutely.
So, now, again, that's not much energy to split an army in half, and obviously going around the mineral line is a lot of wasted time. So,
we actually have a 3rd and 4th gas being thrown down now for Baby Knight, so that indicates a lot of tech.
HyuN just giving up his first 2 gas now, again, favouring the naturals gas as opposed to the main.
I like that, it's like a little quirky, unique thing. It doesn't really make a difference, but...
I mean, the only difference it would make is if Baby Knight sent a probe in to come and scout.
Yeah.
And he saw the gas there, you would probably assume the Zerg player was on 4 gas.
Yes.
So, I guess that's a bit funky, but again, it's such a minor thing that, I don't know. But we do have the Rotron on its way out, so I reckon HyuN is actually going to go for a very similar build.
Okay, 3 gates. I think it's a 4 gate at the moment with the double gas. There's only 2 probes on every gas, actually, so that's 8 in total. So that is it's pretty much 3 saturated gases. Now, that could be interesting. He's going to add more gateways. What's he want to do with this? And it looks like he's going to take a third, I believe. The probe is actually being killed by the Zerglin, and he gets the Nexus down just in time.
Which is awesome. HyuN is actually getting down his creep spread really, really nice right now. It's spreading out from the third. The only thing is his natural and third haven't joined up yet, which can be a problem, and this is exactly what these stalkers are going to exploit now, is the lack of creep there, and also the lack of speed, which is of course only just starting now for HyuN. And he's getting down his lair and a macro hatch. Everything's going where he wants. He's got his 4 gases up, but again, we're getting to this point, Puri, where your Protoss opponent is on 3 bases, and then you're pretty much screwed, because a 3-base Protoss builds whatever they want.
Pretty much, and like if anyone's wondering what that means, when you're on 3 base, your income is just good enough where you can max out on Mothership, Colossus, freaking Archon, like. So it's just, you get the potent army, the really cost-efficient army, and the death ball that Zerg so much. Now,
and that's ultimately what Protoss players rely on, is having those cost-efficient engagements, because their units are expensive and slow to make.
Absolutely, and when you do get the Death Ball army of a Protoss, it's really cost efficient. Now we actually have Ventral Sacs and Overlord Speed, so it looks like we could have some sort of drops, which is something I think is a good idea, because
there's so much dead space going into the main for a start.
Yes,
and also the third.
Yes, and also of course Baby Knight has taken a quick third, so he is stretching his forces pretty thin.
He's getting blink though, but of course.
That's nice.
I'm not too sure. I would have, if I was Baby Knight, I would have preferred to see him go for, say, something a lot quicker, like a big 2-base gateway push. Maybe a 2 Immortal Sentry push, just to take out the third, because that would have really stung HyuN's long-term game plan.
Absolutely. But so he did go for like an 8-minute Nexus, so he wants to play macro game. I like the way he has that cannon and his natural. He has the 2 sentries, which I really like.
I mean, that on its own can hold for ages, like a stupid amount of time. But we do actually have these Zerglings running around, but those 2 cannons are so awesomely walled in by like a gateway and pylon wall off that they're not going down anytime soon.
Definitely, and Zerglings are going to have to run all the way around just to get to them and take a lot of damage. So, really, really nice stuff. Now, Ventral Sacs is finishing in 3 seconds.
But there's no... literally, as I say that, HyuN selects all of his overlords in this main I'm looking at and starts bringing them over.
I was trying to find them, but they're still quite far distance away. That allows Blink to finish, and now that can play some sort of important part, because, of course, if you look at Baby Knight's wall, he kind of has to go up, right, left, up, just to get into his main. So this could be really interesting. Okay, there go the overlords, but the roaches are going to the third.
And of course they're going to try and put on some pressure, but the stalkers are there. The immortal numbers are getting higher. There is one there already, a second one on the way. But of course this drop tech going to be essential, but not being utilised at the moment.
Not at all. This is interesting.
HyuN is basically maxed out though, Puri, and ultimately, once he does max out, as he does now, then this is suddenly an awful lot of stuff. Yeah.
And what's also important to note, there is the Observer flying out in the middle by the Zelnaga Tower, so he sees the roaches go to his third. If he sees them leave and go up again, he knows he doesn't have to leave his forces at the third, and he can
okay, we've now got a big queue up of units, all travelling over to all those overlords. We're going to see a drop into the main, and to be honest, Baby Knight is not in a position to defend this at all. He's got all of his units in the wrong spot. He has no idea it is coming, and once those roaches are down, it's going to be big, big problems. And there's even a blink forward, so the blink's been wasted, and well, out come all of these units, and now for Baby Knight to push up this ramp is going to be hell.
And that was like HyuN just dropped like his entire army near enough, so it is going to be quite hard to deal with that. So many roaches, so many Zerglings, so many probes are going to die. There was a warp in, but still a lot of stuff is going to die.
Exactly. I mean, if we look already, 19 probes killed, and
ouch.
If you look at the bank there for HyuN, he's got 3,500 minerals and nearly 1,000 gas. He can remax near instantly. He's got his 4th base up. He's even sending a small little roach force down to the 3rd, and so much of Baby Knight's production has been taken out now, and HyuN, he's lost his whole army, but he's remaxed. And Puri, he just can't keep doing... I mean, BabyKnight just can't keep resupplying because he's lost his production.
Yeah, he's lost his Nexus as well. There are 22 roaches. There's also a Hydra Den. I was a bit like, ooh.
Well, no, I think the Hydra Den is an amazing choice, Puri.
Yeah,
because
it's really funky.
HyuN has seen that there's only Stalkers and Immortals out. There's no sign of a Robotics Bay for Colossi, which is the only real threat to Hydra, and Hydra absolutely wrecks everything else a Protoss player has. So get out Hydras. He's got the minerals, he just needs a bit more gas, but he does have that rich Vespian Geyser mining, so he can.
He doesn't have his main gases either.
Yeah, I know, this is really peculiar. I don't know why he hasn't taken those gas. Maybe this is why these players don't do the quirky, take your natural gas instead of your main, because you then forget.
Yeah.
And of course,
I just like said game in a row. We do have some roaches come to the third now, but BabyKnight's army is pretty close. He does a little forward blink.
To be honest though, what HyuN is doing here, Puri, is just denying any possibility of production.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we look at active gateways now, there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4.
And force fields are coming down. Some quite nice force fields blocking everything off, so those are actually quite nice. And especially with like the little gaps. So
this is a tech switch now out of HyuN. He's got enough roaches out. He's getting a lot of Hydras and Zerglings, which is really the count. You can't get a better counterforce against Stalker Immortal than Hydra Zergling.
Yeah, this is apart from like a couple of infestors chucked in there for the blink, but yeah, like I really don't say HyuN's in a solid spot. BabyKnight just he has to defend, and if
and we've actually got HyuN going for a fake drop here, and once these overlords are spotted, the entire army's going to pull back, and this could be...
The army's at the third, so it's going to intercept pretty much the army moving up into HyuN, so that kind of really didn't help him that much there, in my opinion. But
I'm surprised HyuN didn't go for the third, to be fair, but here we go. It's a massive engagement, Puri. The Hydras...
Some nice force fields there, actually. They did get on top of the units, and then the forces came down, so he killed the front of the army. But okay, I mean, force fields have run out, and now this is going to get a little bit difficult, but...
I don't think BabyKnight can hold this, because the Hydras are there, and just look at how much damage they do. They're not...
The Warpins will be able to save him, just about. And... Actually, no.
It's going to be pretty close. I mean...
That was a nice little trade there for BabyKnight, actually.
I mean, if we look at the lost tab... only 1,000 resources more lost as a Zerg player, who's on 4 bases against what was a 2 mining base Protoss. You're in the money. And
yeah, HyuN's still in a solid spot. That was a bit of a cost-efficient trade, though, I would say, for BabyKnight.
And hang on, we've got a big surround coming in here, and this could be it, Puri, right now.
Yeah,
he
can only save the Stalkers if he blinks, and he blinks the wrong way.
The Immortals are going to go, and once those Immortals are gone, it's GG.
Oh, and the rest of BabyKnight's army, he must have had it on like one hotkey. He's coming in from his ramp, and like a couple of Stalkers
get taken.
To be honest,
if we look at the supply now, HyuN is 180 to 80.
This should be it. He just whoops in a bunch of sentries, but it's just not going to be enough.
And suddenly that forge is going to get taken down, the upgrades are gone, and if that robotics facility goes, that's a massive problem.
Good game.
And yeah, so we will see, obviously, HyuN advance to owing BabyKnight, which, really good play. So, stay tuned for the semi-finals.
Oh yes, and in the meantime, we can actually